talking about what makes you successful in life, relationships, and business. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy.
Vince Lombardi came up with the idea that winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. But winning isn't all it's cracked up to be. Having a desire to win in everything you do is not a bad thing. Victory is sweet, but losing does not define you. Quite the opposite, actually. It builds your character. Don't go anywhere because we are going to discuss why it's okay to not always win. Welcome to Jump, Pivot, and Roll. I'm Shannon Stiles.
And I'm Rachel Murphy.
So, Rachel, when I think of this topic, I think of a teenager getting their first car. And there are two ways that a teenager gets their first car. The one way is
Mom and Dad buy it.
Grandma, Grandpa, someone, it's given to them, right?
Right.
And the second way is that they work for it and they earn it.
Right.
And, you know, you really appreciate things much more when you actually have to work for it and earn it. And I can tell you, I have several friends that have gone both ways, right? They've given their kids cars and they've made them earn it. I can tell you from mine, Parker was really good. He got his car, but he also knew that we didn't have much money, so there wouldn't be a lot of replacing it. So his first car, he was really good with. His second car, he had lots of accidents, which I don't really blame that on not taking care of it. But my nephew, he had to earn his first car. And I'll tell you what, that kid learned how to change the oil. He learned how to do everything. He took so much pride in that. And it was so beautiful to see this. Now, Parker, he just bought his second car, right? And that's what I think of when it comes to this topic. Winning isn't everything. Right. And I think sometimes when you have to earn that win, it means so much more.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great example. Like with our 4 kids, Shannon, what we told them is we will give you $2,000 for a new car. There's 4 of them. That's a lot of money going out.
Right.
Or we will match whatever you decide to raise before you buy your first car. So if you raise $2,000, we will match that, and now you get a $4,000 car instead of a $2,000 car.
You gave him $2,000. I thought you gave him $4,000.
You do $3,000. We'll do $3,000. Right. Now, I will tell you, speaking of which, you brought up Parker or your nephew's car. Ari still has the car.
Ari is Rachel's daughter.
My daughter. She still has the car that she got at 16 because she did exactly the same thing.
And she's now 23.
23. And it's a 1996, the same year the poor kid was born. But you know what? She's done the same thing. She maintains it regularly. She understands how to check things. She made it a priority because she wanted to make sure that thing lasted. And I think you're 100% right that when we have skin in the game, everything changes.
Yeah, and when things don't, I think it's more of the point of when things don't come easy for you, that win is so much, it's just bittersweet. I mean, it is so sweet, right?
It tastes so good.
It is the best thing. But when it comes really easy, you kind of lose the appreciation for it.
The momentum as well, I think. It's like, you're talking about how sweet it is. Think about when you buy a tomato at the store compared to when you've grown a tomato.
Yeah, really bad example because you're allergic to tomatoes and my husband
hate them
doesn't.
As well.
Yeah.
But
I
when
get it.
Somebody bites into that tomato that they've nourished the ground and they've watered and they've weeded, I've watched my dad
so much better.
Yeah, he just had a tomato from my garden. He's like, this is the best tomato. I think it's disgusting, but I grow them for the people I love. So, I mean, it's sweeter. But I'm so glad we're talking about this subject because I'm really struggling with this, Shannon.
Okay, tell me why.
Well,
I love our counseling sessions.
yes. So, I'm a debater.
No,
100%.
not you.
Not me, not at all.
Especially if anybody heard our last episode. Holy cow, we did not agree, but that's the beautiful thing about us is we don't have to agree.
That's right. So if
keep
you
going.
miss that, please check it out. It's pretty funny, and it also is a really good subject.
I agree. So I didn't mean to interrupt. You're a debater.
Okay, so I'm a debater, and as a debater, we are taught back in debate, you win. You win. You get up there, you point out your arguments, you counter, you win. And things are a little political right now. Have you noticed that?
I have.
Just
Now, before
little.
you go on any
Yes.
further, I have to tell you I was a debater also.
Oh, I
And-
know it.
I'm talking in high school. But I wasn't the debater that got out there and had to win. I was the debater that got out there and I had to have my opponent stop and think about what I said and go, that's a good point. That's the type of debater I was because you know what? We can both have our sides and if you're passionate about something, you probably won't change your opinion. But if you can make that other person stop and go, didn't think of it that way. I haven't seen that perception, right? That's what I think a good debate is.
That is excellent debate. And that's what I've had for myself because, for so long, it's been about winning. My life has been about winning, and I'm not against winning. And it's not like I don't lose. I don't want people to think that everything I do just turns to gold. It doesn't at all. But, winning attitude, and we read books about winning attitude and how what we think presents how we live and what we do. Right. And it's all about that winning attitude. And so I had to step back, Shannon, and do exactly what you were talking about because you're right. That is the best debater is the one who doesn't need to win, but who can influence other people to see another side. And it's one of the things I love about you because
Thank you.
You are good at that, though she does hold on sometimes really strong to that bone, guys. Don't let her fool you that she lets it go easy.
Sometimes I will go down fighting.
She will, even if she knows she's wrong, just like I do. We both.
Yeah, I like playing that devil's advocate for some reason. Just, sometimes it's just to see how truly passionate someone is about something.
Yes.
I love taking that position.
And I will tell you, usually I'm very passionate about whatever position I'm taking. But, it's what I realize, especially on social media, because that's where so much of the debating's happening, right? It's on social media, is that I'm not even talking, and Shannon kind of helped me with this, guys. So I'm going to give her some kudos here.
Thank you.
But I'm not even talking to the person that I'm debating with anymore. I'm talking to the people who are reading our debate because maybe I can help them see it differently. Maybe I can give them a fact that they don't know about. Maybe I can open them up to go do research. And that's where I'm trying to go with it, is just to get people not to listen to me and not listen to the person that I'm debating, but find enough reason to want to go do their very own research from multiple sources so that they can make up their own mind. Because I feel like that's what that I always have to win takes away, is being able to think for yourself.
So you bring up a really good point that I don't even know you brought up. But sometimes when you push so hard for someone to see in this case, to see where you're coming from or to agree with you so that you can win that conversation.
So you can win.
You lose. You lose 100% because you lose their attention. You lose their openness. Sometimes, I got to tell you, the best thing to do in a situation like that is to concede. that you agree with them.
Right.
And once you agree with them, then you go to the next step and you say, and not only that, but think about this. And when you do that, once you see where they're coming from, it's a part of active listening. I love active listening. But once you can see where they're coming from, now they might be a little more open to listening to what you have to say.
Exactly.
And when you do it that way, let me tell you, they listen.
It's a game changer.
It is.
It is.
And I've had many people go, you know what? I actually agree with you.
Yeah. I think so many of us are so much closer in scope to being on the same page than we realize, but we're fighting so hard for the differences, which may be very few, that we can't see through the weeds. You know,
well, it's too, and I'm just
it's
gonna
too impassioned.
I'm just gonna say it the way it is, right?
You always do.
You're too busy worrying about being heard than listening. And when it comes to winning an argument, winning a conversation, you have to be willing to lose that beginning position and to allow someone else to have their position heard. And then you move on to say your position.
I agree. I agree 100%. But, you know, for somebody with my type of personality, and I'm working on it, and I hope I'm getting better at it. But, you know, here's my struggle, right?
Uh-huh.
So I realize this, and I'm working on it. But my struggle is also, well, if I don't come across passionate enough, if I don't help people realize where I stand on this, then I'm going to look like a fraud. I'm going to look like I'm wishy-washy. And
my question is, why do you care what other people think? I mean, you know where you stand. You know what your beliefs are. Why do you have to get the affirmation from someone else?
That's a great question. And I mean, that's one of the things I guess that I'm looking at about myself, because, you know, the way I believe that we improve ourselves as community, as individuals, home, mother, wife, business, is we look at those things that we don't necessarily like or that make us less than who we desire to be. And so, I mean, that's something I try to do a lot, is self-reflection, but it's really hard when I think we're raised in a community. It's all about winning. We give kids trophies for losing now so that they can feel like winners.
We'll come back to that. Hold on. Now you're just rambling right now, and we got to back up a little bit because you brought up some great points that I really want to highlight. The first one is one of the benefits to losing is it allows you to have some self-reflection.
It does.
It allows you to improve, right?
It does.
If you're always winning, then you never have to improve. Then you never need to stop and reflect. Think about a team. This is where in sports, I'm not real sports oriented, and I'm going to put that out there. But my husband is, and some of the things that I've learned from him are so valuable. For example, teams really, really study the game. They study their opponent. They watch the film. They watch them playing in other games, and they can learn from that. However, when you're undefeated, you get to a point where nobody can beat us, and you stop practicing the things that made you so good.
Yes.
And you stop doing that self-reflection, and you stop the improvement because you're beating everyone, right?
Right.
I can tell you, so Parker and Chase and Chance, my nephews, and my son, when they were in high school, they were on in 2 years, they lost one game in soccer. They were back-to-back state champions. They were incredible. Now, I'm not going to tell you that they were incredible just because they, every single kid on the team was so great and they were natural athletes. A lot of them were, but that wasn't the case. They had played together since they were 8 years old. They had really, really gotten, or 5 years old, whatever the case might be. They had gotten really, really good at knowing one another, and they spend a lot of time out there on the field and watching the tapes, doing all of this. And it could have been so easy for them to stop trying to improve themselves. But I have to tell you, in this 2-year win streak, that one game that they lost was the best game they could have possibly lost, because what it did was it pulled them back, and it brought their egos down, right? It made them realize, hey, we could fall off this pedestal at any time. And that is true about anyone. If you stop practicing your trait, you can fall off your pedestal. Right. And it made them start doing the things more often and probably harder than they did before that they did in order to get to that position.
That's a great point.
So I think there are so many lessons to be learned through losing. It also teaches you patience.
Right. Don, that's my husband, for those who don't know, my mister. I was telling him, this was before COVID hit us, because I had a big speaking engagement, about how nervous I was. And he said to me,
I love this.
Good. He goes, that means that you still realize that those people are giving you their time, even though this was a really big deal for me and I was paid really well, which made me feel like, woohoo, I've gotten there. I'm doing it.
We will never arrive.
We will never arrive.
Until
exactly.
the day we die, right?
Absolutely. But it was such a good reminder that I needed to be nervous, that was a respect to the people who were giving me an hour of that time. And, I think in a small way, it knocked me a little bit off my pedestal. I mean, I wasn't way up there, but every time I have a speaking engagement, every time I do something like that, I hear my husband in my head, and it's not about me. It's about who I'm talking to. And I think we need to remember that. And I think sometimes when we get so much in the head of I'm winning, we forget.
Well, not only do we forget, but ego takes over. And I think that's a podcast that we should do, that we should work on, Rachel, is getting rid of the ego and why it's so important.
Ooh, that's going to be hard.
Well, okay, that one's going on the books, guys. So another thing that I love about losing is that, I mean, you know me. You know that I don't fail. I do not fail. That doesn't mean I win all the time.
That's right.
It means I don't fail because there is a lesson to be learned in every single thing that doesn't go my way.
Yep.
And therefore, if I'm learning something, that means I'm improving. And if I'm improving, that means I'm winning.
Absolutely.
I think we really need to redefine the definition of winning. Because when you think about sports, right, winning is
getting a trophy.
Winning is there's only first place. There's only one first place winner. There is nobody else comes in first place. There's only one.
Right.
Well, think of the pressure that puts on people. You can have the best season of your year or of your career. You can be the MVP for another team, but if you don't win, you're not going to be remembered.
Right.
Well, that's not right. To me, winning means it's not true. I wouldn't mind, and this is, I don't know if my husband will listen to this, but he'll probably disagree with me. I would not mind if everyone got a trophy if they improve significantly.
Yeah, I disagree.
Because then they're winning. It doesn't need to be a first place trophy. I mean, I think there should be certain goal marks because not everyone is going to be that star athlete. Right. I don't mind having, it's not a participation. Ooh, let's try that again. It's not a participation. Yeah, I'm not getting it.
She's not getting that word, guys.
Participation trophy. There we go. It's not that. It is an improvement. I mean, you've got trophies of the best improved. I agree with that. I don't agree with giving a trophy just to give a trophy.
Okay.
I don't agree with that. I can
agree with that then. Because I was about to really say, no.
I don't agree with that. But what I'm saying is, you know what? I've got a perfect example.
Okay.
Everybody knows I've talked about this before. I've taken up golf with my husband because my husband loves it and he golfs all the time. And I really wanted to be able to enjoy something that he does. And I've never been very athletic, so I know it's not going to be basketball, football, or anything like that. Golf seems like something that maybe I could do.
Maybe. She's killing it, guys.
So I go out, and my husband and I started doing the couples tournaments. And the first time I thought I would never do it again. I really did. He was, oh my gosh, I was embarrassed to be married to him. He was, I mean, it was horrible. If I didn't hold it right, he'd grouch at me. If I didn't hit it right, he'd grouch at me. It was just so unbearably miserable for me, because at the end of the day, I was really proud of myself, because maybe I didn't do it the way he wanted me to, but I had improved and I had some really, really good hits, and that was a win to me. But we came in last place. And it wasn't a win to him. Now, this is a man that was always in the newspaper. He was always the star quarterback. He would be a star quarterback. He would have a legacy and an NFL career had he not broken his back. But he didn't go on, right? And in everything that he does, he is so competitive. And if we didn't win, we did horrible. Well, that quickly changed because Shannon said, listen, I'm really proud of myself. I did so much better hitting the ball today than I did a week ago when I started. I mean, the first time I ever played with other people was in a tournament, a couples tournament. So he threw me in the deep end, which I love that. But I had to point out to him, this is a win for me. Maybe it's only 2 good hits. Maybe it's only 3 good hits. But once he started realizing the way that I look at it, he then started getting behind me going, oh my gosh, that's awesome, honey. Look how much further you hit it. What great contact. Oh my gosh, you've got it straighter. You've got whatever the case is, right? He would always find something positive. Now, I love it. Friday nights are my favorite.
They are. She's on the course all the time, guys.
And we went on to win a first place.
You did.
And we also won 3rd place last week. But my point is, winning does not have to be first place.
It doesn't.
It can be defined as improvement and progress, right? We say all the time, Rachel, progress equals happiness.
Right.
Progress, right? Tony
not
Robbins
perfection.
teaches us that, right? Progress equals happiness. Well, if you want to be happy, you're not going to be happy if you're always saying, I'm a loser, I'm a loser, I'm a loser. Right. Because I didn't make first place. You know what? I am not, I could go out there and I could play basketball, and I can tell you, I was never into sports. I was sick when I was younger. I never had the chance to build on those skills. So I would not be the type of person that could go out and be on a first place team.
And I had no interest in it. Debate and drama was my thing. So, hey,
Yeah.
I could cheer for you in the sidelines, but I had no interest in it.
So I could look at myself and I could be down on myself and say, oh my gosh, I suck. I'm always in last place. I'm always in second place. I'm always in whatever, as long as it's not first, right? I suck. But I'll tell you what, when you do push yourself, and like I said earlier, I said, I'm not that athletic, right? Well, now I'm athletic, and I'm starting to win in the athletic realm. I'll tell you what, that's like me winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's wonderful to watch you get so excited. But, I also want to address, Shannon, that winning all the time isn't happiness either.
And that is a great place for us to take a quick break, hear a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. And when we come back, we're going to talk about why winning does not bring you happiness.
It can, but not all the time.
All the time. You're listening to Jump, Pivot, and Roll. We'll be back in just a word after a word from our sponsor.
The Jump, Pivot, and Roll podcast is brought to you in part by the Shannon Styles Allstate Insurance Agency. Just as you take that next step in life, you need to take that next step in protecting yourself, your car, your home, and your family. Reach out to Shannon at 316-773-9864 or shoot her an email at sstyles@allstate.com. Also by Simplify My Life ICT. Is your life cluttered? Do you need help with organization? Rachel Murphy can help. Check out Rachel's services online at simplifymylifeict.com or reach out to Rachel at simplifymylifeict@gmail.com. To keep up with the Jump, Pivot, and Roll podcast, make sure to follow them on their Facebook page. Just go to facebook.com/Jump, Pivot, and Roll. There you can find content, podcasts of the show, discussions with Rachel and Shannon, and more. Plus, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites, from iTunes and Spotify, Google Play to TuneIn, and right on their Podbean site at jumppivotandroll.podbean.com. And for all the exclusive content, make sure to become a VIP member on their Patreon site. Just go to patreon.com/Jump, Pivot, and Roll.
Welcome back to Jump, Pivot, and Roll. I'm Shannon Stiles.
And I'm Rachel Murphy.
And we have been talking about how winning is not everything.
It's not. You know, before we went to break, I had brought up that, because you had brought up that losing doesn't make you a loser. As long as you are improving, as long as you are moving forward in whatever realm it is, be there home, business, community, sports, whatever, you are moving forward.
Now, I do want
I'm getting the hand up.
Hold on, because I do want to make sure that everybody realizes that I am not saying participation trophies for everyone. If you're sitting on the bench and you won't even try, I'm not giving you a trophy.
Yeah, you're not getting the snack. But, you know, I also want to bring up that winning is not everything. And for someone with a personality like I have that loves not necessarily to win, but to grow.
Yes.
Well, okay. I'm a debater. We discussed this at the beginning. But I love to watch other people win. Shannon, if you do good,
yes,
who is the
true.
first person screaming on the headline?
That is true.
On the sidelines. Me. I have no problem being on the sidelines and watching other people win. I love it because it means you're growing, you're becoming, you're doing, and I love that. I like to win, but I love to watch other people win just as much. But I've also seen, and I hope your husband does not kill me for this, I've also seen somebody who wins all the time, and Scott usually wins. He is a good golfer. He is putting the time and the energy and the effort. But if he starts having a bad game, if he's not going to win.
So before you go further, because he used to be that way, he is much better now.
He is better.
Yeah.
He is definitely
he
better.
He now is very cognizant of that, and I'm very proud of him for that.
Yes. He's grown so much. But I would physically watch his body language change, his attitude change.
Oh, heck yes.
He was not happy. You were not having a good night.
And
he came home and lost.
The thing about that is that once he changed his state of mind and he got into that negative, there was no bringing his game back.
No.
Now that we've I do pep talks for him.
She does. He will call her, and she's like, okay.
And when he's in tournaments, they'll say, no phones today. You can't call your wife. Because what we do is we just talk about it, and we say, okay, it was a bad hole. What'd you do wrong? How can you improve it? And the next hole is starting over.
Yeah. And even if he loses, which he normally doesn't, guys, he just doesn't. But even if he loses now, his attitude, just like with Shannon when she was learning the game, and she's still learning the game. She's been playing all of 4 months.
4 months, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game you play for a lifetime. His whole attitude is different because now I think through help of his wife, who constantly reminds him, you don't always have to win to enjoy it, to grow, to learn. And I think that's something we all need to remember. I know when I'm debating, that is something I need to remember. I'm not necessarily having to win with this person. I'm just trying to give them a reason to maybe look at it different and open up my mind enough to look at their point of view too, because that's the real win.
Yeah. And you know what? So when you never lose, it makes it very, very hard for you to face your fears.
Or to have empathy.
Because that's a bad one. That's one, and I don't think my husband would mind me talking about this, but he shared with me so many times how he was so used to winning, and when he was younger, his dad, they could have won by a landslide, and he would have made one wrong play, and his dad would have pointed out that. And that's something that he picked up and he carried on with his boys. And it was always about winning and not really recognizing the improvement. And it put a wedge between him and his boys.
There's a reason I believe that there's the saying that enjoy the game. Did you enjoy the game? Enjoy the experience. That in itself is really what matters. It's not whether you win or lose. It's being involved. Like Shannon said, you're not going to get a participation trophy if you're sitting on the bench. You're not going to build your business if you don't start a podcast or you don't do social media or whatever. If that's where your business is going, or you never leave your front door, you can build a beautiful building and bring in the best product. But if you don't step outside of your fear because you're afraid of how you'll be judged or that you won't win, you're going to lose.
A dream is only a dream unless you take action.
I love that. I love the quotes that you shared.
Oh, I just made that one up.
Did you?
I did.
I love it.
I did, but it's true. It will always be a dream unless you take action because, I got to tell you, let's talk about one of the greatest winners ever.
Tony Robbins?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, I love him, but I don't know why I'm stuck on sports. I think sports.
She's
when
married
you talk
to
about
a sports guy.
Yeah, but when you talk about sports, about winning and losing, sports is the easiest analogy. And so let's talk about Michael Jordan, because
I love
Michael Jordan. I don't know if you guys realize this. I know you all know who he is. You might not like basketball, but you all know who he is. And one thing you might not know about Michael Jordan is he did not make his high school varsity team.
Not at all.
Tried out, didn't make it. He wasn't good enough. Well, I think that the simple fact that he didn't make that team is what drove him and gave him enough drive and purpose. That's what losing does for you.
Right.
It gives you drive and purpose to become the best ever.
Yeah, can you
Ever.
imagine if he had made it? We might not have the Michael Jordan that we did.
Yeah.
But he had something to prove to himself. It wasn't even proving it to, the coach who didn't pick him. It was proving it to himself. And look at what an incredible man he became, not only in the sports, but in life. Look at the lives he's changed, the example he's been, the mentor, all of that.
So I've met his personal trainer several times, and he actually wrote a book called Relentless, and it's about the different types of personalities. Michael Jordan was definitely in not even the 1%. I mean, he was in a league all his own.
All his own.
But one of the things that he talks about, Tim Grover is who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm,
One of the things that Tim Grover talks about is he was very focused and very driven, and he would always have to do his best. He didn't have to win. He had to do his best, which equated to winning, right? But when he would be out there and they would lose a game, he would get so mad at the players that didn't give their all, because it wasn't fair to the rest of them that were giving their all. And I think that is a better definition of a winner, is someone that gives it their all and is all in. And it doesn't matter if, maybe they'll never be that first place, but as long as they're giving it their all, in my book, they're a winner.
Absolutely.
And there's no better lesson in losing, or no better gift from a loss, than to give you the drive and the purpose to be successful.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorite pens that broke makes me so sad, but it used to say, No regrets, only lessons learned.
Mm-hmm.
So shall we go to a challenge?
No, I have one more thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
I want to talk about one more thing that losing does.
Okay, let's do it.
And it helps you to learn to deal with your feelings. Because there's a pain that comes with losing. And this feeling is real. And it helps you when you can recognize that pain. It helps you to empathize, have empathy for others, right?
Which is so important.
But it teaches you how to handle disappointment well. And I think that is a huge gift. I think that if you always win, you lose some of the ability to empathize with people, which Michael Jordan is a great example of that, because he did not empathize with anybody. And he wasn't fun to be on the team with until those wins came around. But it's a great example of it, because we have to learn to deal with our feelings. We have to feel them, because especially something like pain.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't, that is when we become defined by that loss.
Right. It becomes part of us forever. We don't work our way through it and just let it be a moment in our life. It becomes something exactly like you said. It defines us. It defines that moment, that experience, that time in our life.
So I think one thing I'd like to leave for the listeners, I think that when you think about winning, what I'd like you to do is have a different view of winning, and view winning as a preference, not a requirement.
That's pretty good.
Because participating is more important than winning.
That's pretty good. Now she pretty much took away my challenge, guys, but I'm going to come up with one.
Oh, did I?
Yes.
Oh.
So my challenge is this week, instead of winning at something, an argument with your spouse, an argument at work, an argument on social media, I want you to step back and try and learn something from their point of view. And be okay if you don't necessarily win the argument, win the debate, win the fight, and then step back and look at what you gained because you allowed somebody else to win.
I love that, because, that's the problem with having an argument, is you always want to be right. And years ago, somebody asked me, do you want to be right or do you want to be loved?
That was me.
And that is, it makes you stop and think, what am I really fighting for?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, winning is not everything. If you have to lose a relationship because you win, that is not a win, guys.
Right.
That's not a win. And Rachel's challenge today is just really, it's the perfect challenge to make that not be a loss.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because when somebody wins, somebody loses. How can we coordinate so that there is really no loser? Even if you lose the argument, lose the situation, if you walk away with something that you've gained, like Shannon said, you haven't lost anything at all. You just won in a different way. You won in a more personal, private way that's going to make you better, and it's going to take you closer to who you are and who you want to be.
Life doesn't always come with directions. Sometimes you have to jump, pivot, and roll. Thank you so much for listening to this week's podcast. We appreciate it. Please, if you liked it, like it, subscribe, share it out, and leave us a review. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what subjects you'd like us to talk about, because this is all about you. We get on here every week just to talk to you and share with you the wins that we've had and the losses, and we share with you all of our pain in order for you to be able to get to those wins a little bit faster. So thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.